Business Bites with Invest Northern Ireland. Go further and grow stronger with Invest NI. Visit investni.com/export to reach your exporting potential. Invest NI. Go further and grow stronger.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Business Bites from Bauer Media Audio here in Northern Ireland. My name is David Tighe, the Managing Director of Bauer Media, and each week we delve into the world of business and we hear the stories from our part of the world. This week, I'm delighted to welcome my guest. It's Emma Thompson. She's a beekeeper and she's a founder of Bee Haven Bodycare. Emma, welcome to Business Bites.
Thank you very much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Well, it's great to have you. It's great to have you. And I really want to get into your story because I have to say in 100 episodes, you're the first beekeeper we've ever spoken to. And I want to find out all about that. So which came first, the body care or the beekeeping? Tell us how it all began.
Definitely the beekeeping. So I honestly, I never had any aspirations to start a business or to be in business or ever to be self-employed, really. I was a sales rep, had been a rep for a long time, worked in sales and marketing. And one day I'd always struggled with my skin. I'd always had acne. I'd been on lots of treatment, lots of creams. It was always a mega thing for me was my skin. And I got into beekeeping because somebody told me that to heal my skin, naturally, I needed to heal my gut. And through the, plethora of probiotic foods that I was eating that were all stinking, I realized that raw honey was a probiotic food. So I bought some raw honey, and that was maybe 9 years ago. And I honestly, at that point, had never bees. I wasn't interested in bees. I'd seen bees, I'd seen bumblebees, but I hadn't really ever thought much about them. And I certainly had never, ever thought about beekeeping or even thought about a beekeeper or known a beekeeper. Anyway, I got my raw honey. I took a spoonful of it at home. It was beautiful. And on the settee at home, as I was eating the raw honey, I started to Google, where does honey come from? Again, I'm a 44-year-old woman. So 9 years ago, 35 years of age, I knew where honey came from. I'd eaten honey as a child, but I didn't really know what bee, how it happened, where it came, the process. So in answer to your question, what I did was I became, I wouldn't even say mildly obsessed. I would say I went in on bees, their behavior. I became really, really fascinated by them. And after a short space of time, a couple of months, I decided that I was going to become a beekeeper. So that's how I got into that. A lot of people think that it was because Dad and I beekeep together. And a lot of people think that it was my dad who was the beekeeper and I followed in on his footsteps. And that does happen in a lot of families. But Dad retired at the same time as I did. Sorry, at the same time as I was eating the honey. No, I haven't retired yet. I don't think I ever will, to be honest. Not now. So he decided to come on the journey with me. So that's how the beekeeping started.
Okay, so you there was a need in your mind, there was an interest, and then you started beekeeping. Obviously, I'm sure your dad could give you some helpful advice in that area, as he did it as well as from what you're telling me. So how did you make the transition then from, beekeeping is a business, I'm assuming, like it's a proper business, or is it just a hobby, or what is it?
Beekeeping is a hobby. It's our business is called the Bee Haven Beekeepers Limited. So I suppose in that aspect, it is a business for us. But in generally, beekeeping is a hobby and can be a profitable hobby for lots of people. To become a mega business from beekeeping, you would need to be selling beekeeping supplies, selling, filled nukes of bees, actually selling bees, or making an awful lot of honey. And at that sort of level, it would be commercial beekeeping. So that would be where the business would happen really in beekeeping. Other than that, it's a beautiful hobby that can be profitable. But our very first year with bees, so we didn't get any honey our first year. The second year, we got our first honey crop. And Dad and I sat and added up all of the equipment, everything that we bought, prior to that, and how much honey we got. And we had 4 hives at the time. And we worked out that every jar of honey that the price of honey for a jar from a beekeeper was around about 7, 8, £9. So we worked out that every jar of honey cost us 40 quid, like 40 pounds it costs. So,
Right.
so beekeeping isn't always profitable. It's definitely a labor of love for many beekeepers. And it's nice to have a product at the end of it to sell. A little
Yeah.
bit of honey. People love that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So what was the catalyst then that moved you from doing the beekeeping to the beauty products? How did that happen?
So on the journey to heal my skin and heal my gut, I discovered honey. My skin had improved. I was making my own kombucha and kefir, lots of probiotic foods to help my skin, and it definitely had improved, but it wasn't perfect. And around about 4 years into being a beekeeper, my acne returned, and it was quite severe. And I was at a loss as to what to do. I knew that everything I'd done previously hadn't worked. The gut health had helped, but everything I'd done before that hadn't worked. All of the creams, potions, lotions, all of the expensive stuff I bought hadn't worked. And I had this, I suppose, gut instinct, because by that time I knew how wonderful honey was. I'd been talking about it for a long time in terms of gut health and how beautiful it was, things that it can help with, anti-inflammatory if you eat it and things like that. So I decided to put a little bit of my honey and some beeswax and some oils together and make a topical cream to put on my skin to see if that would help. That was a very rudimentary form of what is now still my best-selling product, the Beekeeper's Intense Skin Balm. So within a few days, my skin had improved. It felt wonderful. There was a glow. The redness had subsided. The spots had started to clear up. And I just couldn't believe the difference. So I started to talk about it because I was in sales and marketing. I couldn't help it. I had to give it a name. I had to talk about it. I had to, market it to my friends and family. Look what I've done. Look what my skin looks like, etc., etc. So, yeah, that's how the business end of it started. I would say that even until about 2 years ago, it was still a profitable hobby for me. I was still working. To sell a cosmetic product in the EU and the UK, you have to have it certified. So I was reinvesting the bits and pieces of products that I was selling here and there, 100, £200 a month, maybe reinvesting that back into, getting a few other little products made and certified. And then I started my website from my hospital bed one time because I was just bored, and I thought, you know what, I'll just put together a little website. I had 4 or 5 products at the time, and that is really where the business kind of started. That was just before first lockdown. And as we all know, shop local, online sales and lockdown just went boof, and that's where it really became, okay, I think I've got something that I can work with here. And I started to make plans for the future based on what a business would look like, what the brand name would be, what I would like the products to, how I would like my range to develop. So that's really how it started.
That's an amazing story. So tell us about the business today. Give us an idea of the kind of products that you have, and the kind of scale, and where people are buying these products, and
Okay.
how's it going today?
So last July, we opened a shop. If you had, again, one of those things, if you had asked me a year and a half ago, do you want a bricks and mortar shop? I would have said no. The website was doing very well. We'd redeveloped the website. We had got an app built. I had reduced my hours in my sales job to part-time. I really wasn't ready to leave yet because I knew I had a little bit more reinvestment that I wanted to do. I'm a bit of a daydreamer, and I do dream big, and that always takes, everything I do seems to be expensive. So I wasn't able to quit work yet because I wasn't able to pay myself. You might hear the ding-a-ling in the background. That is the shop door going. So the customers are coming in. The shop.
Where is the shop? Where is the shop?
It's in Ballygowan. So
Right.
the shop's in Ballygowan. So I live in Ballygowan. Everything has been handmade in Ballygowan by me. Last April, I decided to upscale the website side of it. I have been quite successful on TikTok with a following of over 75,000 followers, who I would talk to about beekeeping and skincare, my business and my daily life. So my idea last April, moving into the old post office in Ballygowan, everything prior to that was made, marketed, my office, etc., was all at home. So I moved into the old post office more as a space for streaming online, live online throughout the day, picking and packing people's orders online, on live, I should say, and to upscale the website part of the business. But because we're in a very central location in Ballygowan, we're just facing the Spar garage, we're at the roundabout, there's a lot of traffic that passes us, and a lot of people walking past wanted to come in. They were like, they didn't know what was going on. They were a little bit like, what's happening in there? Can I come in and have a look? I hear you make soaps. Do you have soaps for dry skin? You do anything for eczema? So people were coming through the door, even whenever it wasn't a shop. So by the time we got to last July, we decided to put a till in, keep shop hours, sort of develop the shop front side of the business and make it look a little bit nicer, shop more shoppable, less websitey. And at that point, I say we, it was still me. At that point, from July until the end of August, the business trebled. So our business basically overnight trebled. And that was whenever I was able to, which was always a massive plan for me that I was never able to execute, was to be able to bring my daughter into the business. My daughter's 26. And it was really important for me to be able to do that. But I didn't want to jump too soon, because obviously, paying somebody's wages it's a big undertaking, especially a family member. I didn't want to go at the wrong time. So in August, Ruth came to work for the business, and she does all of the finance, the Sage, all of the VAT stuff. She really runs the business. I do all the making and the social media and all the nice stuff. She does the really important stuff. So we now have a shop, we have our website, we have our app, we supply a cup, but we supply Nature's Wet Ballyhackamore, but really we don't do any more wholesale than that, because I can't make enough. We sell out constantly of our best selling products. So I make 150 different certified beeswax honey products here. Half of our shop is actually my factory. So you walk into our shop, you've got me standing over to the side, and that's where I make everything. So Ballygowan has been very kind to us. We get a lot of people traveling, maybe from Antrim, Ballymena. We've had people come up from Lisnaskea just to see the shop and shop the range.
Well, Emma, we are out of time. We could talk forever here about this great story that you told us, and great success story. So just before we finish, so give us the website. What's the website? The
website is beehavenbodycare.co.uk.
Okay, and the shop is in Ballygowan.
It's in Ballygowan, yes.
Right. And listen, we wish you all the very best. What a great story. What an inspirational story to tell about something that became a chance situation, that became a hobby, that became a business. Great. Thank you so much for being our guest this week.
Thanks so much, David. Thank you.
Business Bites with Invest Northern Ireland. Go further and grow stronger with Invest NI. Visit investni.com/export to reach your exporting potential. Invest NI. Go further and grow stronger.